today I'm really excited about our Builder series. Every month we interview a new entrepreneur or set of entrepreneurs, and today it's a set of entrepreneurs. And Brent and Laurie Whiting have done an amazing job in building this really cool business that brings social responsibility to a new level. I had the chance to get to know them at a DECA conference where they were promoting their products, Yuda bands, to the student leaders there who were looking for fundraising opportunities. And they've built this amazing business that helps people from all around the world. And we'd love to have a chance for you to get to know them and their company and to see if you can glean some insights from their experience that would apply to yours. They'll be interviewed by our very own Rebecca Palmer. Rebecca here at RevU she heads up everything that has to do with communications and PR. She's very, very good at what she does. She's a journalist. And so we hope that you will think of questions that you would like to ask them as you listen to the interview process take place, because then at a certain point in the interview, she'll pause to give you a chance to ask those questions. We do videotape this, and we do record it and post it. So make sure that if you do ask a question, wait for a mic, and so we can capture that. With that, let's welcome Brent and Laurie Whiting up to the stage, and Rebecca, thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us and being willing to chat about your experience. Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. So let me tell you a little bit more about Brent and Laurie. They're truly one of Utah's, in my opinion, most interesting couples. We're so lucky to have them here. So I wrote down a few things, make sure I get this all right. So one thing about them is that they have always worked very closely together. Laurie has been a stay-at-home mom for most of the time, raising 7 children, right? 7, wow. They've had several successful ventures in that time. They've also, this self-employment has allowed them some great opportunities, particularly international travel and humanitarian service. In fact, they've lived for several years in the developing world. It started in 1996 when they moved their 4 children to Panama for a year. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then about 5 years later, they spent some time in southern Chile. Then a port stop in Guatemala in 2006 led to what would be the adventure of their lifetimes. I mean, probably. You're still young.
So far.
And that was Yuda bands. It started, and I'll tell us a little bit more about it in a minute. But it started, they were helping a friend with the school that he owned, right, in Guatemala. And that eventually became this Yuda Bands project. Now, since 2009, they've been able to help hundreds of kids go to high school in developing countries and then gone on to either higher education or full-time work. And meanwhile, they've also kind of enrolled, 2 million kids in the U.S. in this effort. Now, one of the major reasons we have them here today is it's a nonprofit, but it's not the kind of nonprofit that goes and begs for donations. It's self-sustaining. So this is a really unique business model that we're excited to hear more about. Now, Brent, I understand you have a presentation that you give to students when you travel around the country talking about Yuda bands. Would you like to do that now?
I'd be happy to.
Great.
Be happy to. Stand up. Well, we're grateful to be here with you. We're honored to join you today. We live in a great country. We have our troubles, but we've had the opportunity to travel quite a bit, and in fact, we got home about 3 this morning, and when we got up and going this morning, I told my wife, I said, I love to be home. There's no place like home for me. It's my favorite place of all the places I've ever visited. And this country is by far my favorite country. We're very blessed to be here. Did you realize that there are only 4% of the world's population are Americans? In case you were not feeling too lucky today, I think you should. The United States makes up 4% of the world's population. And yet we control 40% of the world's wealth, which I think is also quite amazing. Just to put that into perspective, I wanted to do a little example. If you'd bear with me, you guys that are eating, I need 25 volunteers. Would you 5 stand up? And you 5 here, you can stand up, McKay, with them. That'd be 10. If you 2 would stand up, And you 5, 17, you 3 here, be 20, and 5 of you at that table back there, if you would. Okay, that's 25 people. Let's suppose for a minute that that represents the world, the whole world population. So who's good at math? How many of those 25 would be Americans? Very good. One of those. Was that our economist that said that? Oh, okay. Yeah, so we got one American. Who wants to be our American? Okay, good. Good answer. Good answer. So now we're going to split up 40%. We're going to split up the world's wealth. Okay? And we're going to call it world's wealth $100 for today. So our American, 40%. We can do that one. You have how much money?
$40.
You have $40. The rest is all divided, right? So if you live in Canada, you're going to have a lot more than maybe the guy that lives in Zimbabwe or something like that, right? But in general, if you have $40, the other $60 is divided up. How much do you each get on average? $2.50. $2.50. Isn't that amazing? Putting that in perspective for me helps me to see just how wealthy we are and how blessed we are to live in this amazing country. What's your name, David? David, how do you feel?
I feel blessed.
Blessed? Do you feel rich?
Yes.
I think you are. I think you are. Do you feel like you'd like to help
Yes.
the rest of these guys? How would you help them?
Emotional support.
Emotional. Very good. Very good. How could you help them emotionally?
Helping them. Well, okay. The real answer: helping provide for their needs.
Okay, and the United States gives more. In fact, I think it's the top 4 or 5 countries in the world after the United States give as much as the United States gives. Does that make sense? I didn't say that very well. The United States gives as much as the second, third, fourth, and fifth countries combined that we give. So we do give. We give a lot, and I think we're also blessed for that. But let's say you're from Zimbabwe, and you've got your $40, and she's got her $2.50. And being from Zimbabwe, she probably has more like 50 cents rather than $2.50. But for this example, how could you help her?
I could give her opportunities to work through programs, education, things like that.
Very good, very good. You're smarter than most of the high school kids we talk to because they say money, which would help you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But what would you do with some money? What if he gave you $30? What would you do with it?
I have no idea.
You'd probably eat. You'd probably pay for needs for your kids, medicine for your something, right? And before long, you're back down to not having any. And you, with opportunity, are going to take that advantage and get your $40 back, aren't you? But the real solution, I think, is what you're saying. Provide opportunities. And one of the things we do, you're welcome to sit down now. I appreciate you participating with me. One of the opportunities that we provide, or what we provide, is education. That's our purpose, is to provide education to folks that can't afford to do that, so that they will have those opportunities. Rather than give them money, we're giving them some opportunity for the future. We do that through the sale of Yuda bands. Yuda bands are these bracelets, leather and coconut bracelets. They're all handmade in Guatemala. We sell them as a service project in high schools across the country. As Darren said, we met at a DECA conference. We meet these students and we give them an opportunity to be able to do our project at their school, where we ship them the bracelets, they sell them for 2 weeks, and the money they raise goes to sponsor the student that they're able to choose. So they meet their student, they do a Skype call, and there's a really cool connection that they're able to do through that. So anyway, that's my little spiel. And
Thank you so much, Brent. So who agrees that we're lucky in America to have so many opportunities? And who would like to hear more about how to share those opportunities without having to give away the money we already have? Cool, great. So Jason, do we have that video queued up from Yuda Bands?
nonprofit organization that raises money through selling unique handmade bracelets from Guatemala to raise money to send kids to school in parts of the developing world where there's no public high school option. Any kind of service club or Spanish club or student council can get a whole bunch of these bracelets called Yuda bands, and they sell them in their school. The beauty about Yuda bands is it's all free, no risks. You get the bands. What doesn't sell ships back for free.
It was super simple. I sent an email through the Yuda Band's website saying, hey, we're ready to collect the bands. We want this many. Our fundraiser will run in May.
Each project that we do with the school has a project leader who heads up the project and leads the project in their school. What's neat about the program is that they're able to choose the student they want to sponsor.
You know, I get to go talk to kids from all over the country, and the favorite thing is always, oh, I love how I could pick my own student to go to school, and I can see the stories in the bio on the website, and I can read them and know who they are, and then you can do a Skype call with them and actually see who they are, see their faces, and
To have the girls' profiles and see that they're real people and read about them. They did a lot for my club to make that connection and say, this is the real deal. These are real people on another side of the world that are just like you, have the same needs, wants, and desires. Their heart beats just as much as yours does. And just started falling in love with them. Went to be able to Skype with them. It was amazing.
The only thing that's like different about us is that they live in a place where there's lots of poverty, and they can't go to school without a little bit of help. And so to be able to help them out is really great.
Yuda bands, the mission is all about education and breaking the poverty cycle by fighting it with education opportunities.
It has such an international scope, and it's not just a handout, it's giving somebody an opportunity that is changing their whole future and their family's future, which is something that high school kids don't generally get to see the result of.
Like after Skyping them, it was crazy to think all I'm doing is standing there selling these bands, and it is changing their whole entire life.
As soon as the kids realize that something so simple as buying a $7 leather and coconut bracelet can change in such a big way, like they catch on to that vision and they join the movement.
And the first day that we brought them out, knowing that, and all these kids ran over and they were like, what are these? What are these? And so we were explaining them to them, and they're like, oh, this is really cool. And they kept going, and they're like, I'm going to bring money tomorrow. I'm for sure buying a ton. These are awesome. So they really liked them. Yeah.
Not everybody has the same opportunity in this world.
They're real life, they're real kids, and they have these ambitions and they have these dreams, and all they need is a chance. See, someone to take a chance on them, and they can do it.
Wow, that's a great video. Good job on the marketing, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's dig right into the questions. Laurie, tell me about Yuda bands. How did the project start?
Well, you mentioned that we stopped in Guatemala in 2006, and what happened at that time was we met a friend who we also actually knew from Panama, and he had started a private high school. In his community, probably about 80,000 people live in the area, and there was not one single high school, public or private. Private school or public schools available up through elementary school, but after that it's just real hit and miss. So if you have money and can pay for private education, then you can go on, and if not, you can't. And the school was struggling to make it, not because there was any competition, of course, it was the only school, but families couldn't afford to pay. They were just too poor. And we asked them how much it cost to go to school, and they said about $300 a year.
It's not much.
We thought for $300 a year, the change or the hope that it could give somebody was incredible.
Wow.
And we thought of all the people that we knew just in our own community that would be really willing to help. Like we know, our country is we usually have a good giving heart. So we came back and actually put together a trip, invited friends and family to go the next year to Guatemala. And they went to the school, they met these kids who were wanting to go and just lacked the funds, and they just started snapping them up and say, I'll sponsor this kid right here, I want to sponsor this one. And ended up sponsoring 35 kids that year, and we repeated the thing the trip the next year and grew to 65, which was great, but that meant we needed to get all these kids now that we're paying for a year of education. Well, then what happens the next year? When they want to go back, we've got to go back and ask people for more money, and that's not our favorite thing to do. But that year we noticed some bracelets in the market. In fact, somebody that was with us on the trip had pointed them out. They're leather and coconut. They're like what you saw in the video. They're actually, found out later, were handmade in China. We thought they
Handmade.
were, or not handmade
Probably
in China,
machine.
made in China. We thought they were handmade in Guatemala. But just on an idea to buy 100 of those and bring them back to the United States and sell them and see if we could sponsor just one more student. And the night we got home, we set them on our counter, and my daughter, who was in high school, walked by and she said, "Wow, those are really cool. I think I could sell those in my high school." And so we said, "Well, let's try it." She made a little video, and we took them to school. She was in a multimedia class, and she had to do it with the club, and she got permission. We set up a table outside the lunchroom and sold them at lunchtime, and had 100 bands there, and it was just like magic. There was just this energy. The kids just went nuts. The bracelets are cool, but we called them Yuda bands. Yuda means help in Spanish, so it's a Yuda band. So it means it's a help bracelet. But besides being cool, tying it to the purpose of sponsoring a student just was this winning combination. And I came back. He didn't come with me the first day. I came back and said, "You've got to go back tomorrow." We sold like 60 of them that first day.
Wow.
Just within a matter of about a half hour. So I said, "You've got to go back and see that and feel the energy." And he did, and it happened again. When we called our contact in Guatemala that had started the school, and he went to the market, and Federal Expressed up bands 3 more times. And the last day we sold, he was there. They followed him out to the car, wanting to buy them. So
Oh, wow.
it's just an incredible response, and that kind of started it. We just wondered, if it worked one school, why not more? So we decided to do 10 pilot schools here in Utah, and it was the same thing every time. And that's where it started. So that was what gave us the idea.
That's great. So how did you get the schools on board? Did you go to the advisors? Did you go to the students?
Both at first. Now we primarily market through conventions, where we attend student leadership conferences, or he does, but we also are online and have an online presence that we work with as well. Let me make one more comment too. We do now have, they're not imported from China.
Oh yeah, tell us about
That's
that.
another whole aspect of it, is the fair trade, is that they're all handmade by artisans in Guatemala, which also is another side benefit, which we don't even really talk about much, but it does provide jobs there as well.
Well, and that's one of the things we love at Rev Road is entrepreneurship provides jobs.
Exactly.
So it gives a lifestyle to so many people on and on. That's fabulous. So as far as service projects in the U.S., how many have you sponsored total?
Well, there have been about 2,500 schools.
2,500. Wow.
To their high school, mostly high school, some junior highs, middle schools.
That's great. So this question's for Brent. What does this do for the sponsored students and their families, so the kids in the developing world? Why does this high school education help them?
Well, the money actually pays their tuition. So it's not for housing, it's not for anything else. It pays their tuition at a private school in this community where there's no public high school option. Not all communities are that way. In the bigger cities, they do have public high school all the way through. So it's not a countrywide problem, it's a smaller community problem.
Okay.
But what it does for them is it gives them opportunity to go to school. It gives them a high school degree. It's not college, it's just high school. And allows them to be more prepared to get a job, and that was our hope, that they would be much more employable by the time they finished having gone through this process.
So we were talking earlier. You came in earlier for our little promo video. Thank you for that. And we were talking about how that's what the goal was, always to get them kind of more employable or more job ready. But you found out that wasn't quite happening. So tell me about how you learned that and what you did about it.
Well, we learned it because in the first couple of years, we tried to track those that were graduating, and we found that very few of them were getting jobs. And we felt like, gosh, are we just, like my little example, are we just throwing money at a problem? Are we really helping them, or are we just acting like we are? Well, we helped him go to school. Well, yeah, he got an education, but it didn't help him in any other way to be employable, to land the job or anything else. So we were down there, we were in Guatemala, and while we were there, it was just the two of us on that particular trip, and we felt like we needed to move there and live there and experience their situation to be able to know how better to help them. So that was what we did. We moved down there in 2011.
Wow. It's such a big deal to move did you move your whole family at that time?
We took the ones we loved the most.
Wow.
We had 5 at the time.
Philip is back here. He's our oldest. He was married, but we took the rest of them. One was on a mission, so we took 5 of them, and one came home from his mission there, so that was kind of cool for him. But
Wow.
but yeah, we lived there for a year, and it was really good for us to be able to see the problems that you think are easily solved. But being in that situation, you find out that they're real problems, and it's not as easy as we would be able to solve them here.
Right. Well,
It was good
and
for us.
Laurie, you guys did a study, right?
We did.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Maybe I better back up and talk about the LEAD program, though, because that's what the study was about.
There.
Is that okay?
Please do. Yes.
Well, during our year there, we were looking for, like he said, like you mentioned, something was blocking their progress. They were getting the education, but beyond that, they just didn't seem to know how to go sell themselves, how to take it to the next level. We seriously wanted to break the poverty cycle for them, have them be the generation that it ended. Their parents couldn't even write their own name, most of them, but they had a high school degree, so we're making huge progress that way. But if they go back out into the fields, then there's not the economic benefit, of course.
And it doesn't keep growing, yeah.
Right. So while we were there, we developed a program that we now call LEAD. Leadership, Education, Attitude Development is what it stands for. There are 3 components of that program. The first is that they set goals. When you are living in poverty, you think for today and today only. It's about survival.
I've heard about that.
There's not any forethought of what I'm going to be doing next week or in a year or in 5 years. So it was the first time they even had that concept introduced to them. So we began in January. The school year actually starts in January. So they are brought in. There are 150 kids in the program in each location where we work, and they set goals. And they're mentored through their goals throughout the year. The second thing is we teach life skills through workshops that are held monthly, and the parents are required to attend. And
that's interesting to have the parents come.
Yes, we're talking about a culture shift.
Yeah, okay.
And so the parents need to support this change.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of a side note, but one of the biggest challenges that we actually have in changing the mentality from poverty to having them have the hope that they can have a better life is their parents. That they are hopeless. They feel like this is the way we are and this is the way we're always been. And so the kids, being young, have more open minds. But sometimes it's actually the parents that will tell them, don't get your dreams or your hopes up, don't have dreams. So we're working on changing that by bringing the parents in and talking about how life could be different. We'll talk about anything between from budgeting to even addictions or teenage pregnancy is a big issue. Again, goal setting, how to do a job interview, how to use time efficiently, all sorts of things like that, basic life skills. And we don't live there anymore, obviously. We have directors in each location, but the workshops are actually taught by the students themselves. A group of about 10 walk through how to study and create a plan to present, and then they digest that material and they stand up to present it to their peers and the parents, and which has been a great leadership opportunity for them. And then they all learn together. The third thing we do is community service. They get together quarterly as a group. We work closely with the mayor, and they do service in their own community, and it has. The power behind that has probably, I think, been the most significant thing. There's a mindset, we help people so much in our country, and we give, they receive. On their end, their mindset is they are poor, we're rich, or, relatively speaking. I'm going to always be this way, you're going to always help me. And if you're in Guatemala, if you ask anybody in Guatemala, they can tell you where they can go for a handout.
So it's not very empowering.
So they're kind of like held in that little spot.
Right.
But by turning the tables and having them do the service, all of a sudden what's changing in their mind is, I can identify an issue here, and if I get together with enough people, and we work together, and we plan it, and we carry it out, we're changing our world. And I think that's been the most powerful thing to watch happen, is that they see life now as something that can be changed and altered, and that they have the power to do that. All that kind of, so the study now, we completed a study in 2016. Pre-LEAD program, we had about 20% of the kids coming out of high school, graduating from high school and going on to either a university or getting a job.
So like 1 in 5
About
of
1
all
in
those
5.
kids that you've helped go to school.
Right.
It's not
super
bad,
hopeful, but it was
but
but
yeah.
But it wasn't satisfactory.
Right.
But our study showed that now we have 85%. That
Wow.
are getting jobs and going on to the university, and it could be potentially higher. There's a small percentage of those that were girls that got married and are just raising a family. But it's been a huge shift, and we attribute that to the LEAD program.
To the program, yeah.
Education was part of it before and after that.
So many exciting things about your story, and things that we love at Rev Road. Teaching people that they have the power to see a problem and solve it. Like that's entrepreneurship for us, right?
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing. And we also loved hearing about your study. I loved hearing about your study because knowing what you're doing, keeping track of everything, figuring out the small ways to make it better. That's one of the things that we talk with our roadies about a lot is make sure you know what's really happening. So you guys are really great examples of that. Thank you. So since we have so many entrepreneurs here, let's talk about the business side a little bit. Brent, you mentioned about the bracelets now being made in Guatemala, right? So
They are.
can you tell us kind of just about how that works, how the supply chain got set up, and all of that businessy stuff?
Yeah, back to our initial friend who started the school. He continued on. We sponsored students there, but before too long, he was in such debt that he ended up selling the school, and wasn't able to keep it going.
Not all ventures work out.
There you go. And we continued to sponsor students at that school, and then there are also a couple other schools that were formed. So we sponsor students at each of those schools, but our buddy there is very artistic, and he left when he sold his place. He started actually doing the carving. If you saw in the little video, the carving with the little Dremel tool, he started doing the carving, and he started making the bracelets and hiring people to help him in that process. So we actually purchased the bracelets from him now. So he supplies all those for us, and we sell them through schools, through high schools, as a service project.
So do you know how many jobs that's created there? Like how many employees he has?
I think they probably have about 15.
15,
people
wow.
that work for him, doing the tying and the preparation of the coconut and that type of thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And I love the sustainability, the fair trade sustainability of it. That's fabulous.
Yeah, that is.
So,
great.
Again, for the entrepreneurs, and Laurie, this is a question I'd like you to answer. What can today's entrepreneurs learn from your experience, whether they're doing service or, something more profit-based? What made you guys successful?
Well, I think it's the story. I think you have to bring the heart to whatever you're doing, and it's great if we have a passion about what we're doing, but it's sharing that passion in a way that it's communicated. I call it story cells. What we do with our marketing is to teach the why. It's a cool bracelet. It would sell by itself, but when you put the whole story behind it, then it changes everything. And I think that no matter what you're doing in entrepreneurship, you've got to tell the story. It's got to have that passion touch. You've got to touch the heart. When you touch the heart, you'll touch the pocketbook, which doesn't mean it's not out of insincerity.
No, not at all.
The more bracelets we sell, the more kids we send to school. But people are willing to help, but they want to know why, and they want to know you're genuine, and you want to know that you're sincere. And I think we do that with storytelling.
Well, and the fact that you guys believe in it so much, it seems to kind of trickle down through the whole organization. So to be successful, you have to believe in what you're doing. That's great. And Brent, let me put that question to you. You've had a little bit different perspective. What do you think entrepreneurs here can learn from your side of this?
Well, something that I've learned is to be flexible. What I had in mind, what we have today is much different than what I had in mind. And I think being adaptable to the situation and flexible has been something I've learned that's helped us and helped us to be successful rather than trying to cram that round peg into a square hole. It just didn't fit. So
And so a 5-year plan, like Bart was talking about, a Soviet plan,
Yeah.
might not have worked. But the
That-
fact that you saw little things, and especially you moved there and saw what was going on.
That was helpful.
Is that
for
what
us,
you
too.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was.
fantastic. So what's next? Maybe Brent, you can talk about this. What's next for Yuda Bands?
Well, Yuda Bands, the organization will continue. We're in Zimbabwe now. Zimbabwe and Guatemala are the two countries that we work in. We have 150 students in each of those countries. What's next for us is we're actually planning to move down there next month to Botswana, which
Wow.
is a neighboring country to Zimbabwe. And exactly what we'll do there, we aren't sure. Our hope is to be able to expand the Yuda Band project, or the help side of Yuda Bands into
And the
Botswana.
help side is the U.S. side, or no?
No,
to
in the country
recipient.
there,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
To help them in some way. Our idea is mentoring and helping them to have contacts here that would maybe help them through the process of starting a business and having to be successful.
Great.
And
And
one thing to that too, just the reason why we're looking at that direction is
Yeah.
in Zimbabwe, Forbes magazine in May of 2017 reported that there's 95% unemployment in Zimbabwe.
wow, 95. So like, how many people would that be if you're 25 who had a job? Like a quarter of you, right?
Part of one of
Your
them.
feet.
So even if we increase our job placement by 80, up to 85%, if there are no jobs to be had, that just still doesn't help. And so we're looking at the entrepreneur side of it. How can we help those who can't go get a job to not need a job, to create income in different ways? So that's what we'll be kind of looking at. And just like we went to Guatemala, we'll go without a plan. We'll just go knowing what we want to hope, what we hope to accomplish by the end. But we just got to figure it out while we're there. We can't sit here with all that we're surrounded by and try and think what it might be like and how we can help them there. It's going to take being there and seeing exactly what they're up against. And then we can use our experience to pick it apart and say, let's take this approach and see how it works.
Wow, that's very admirable. And that's a great lead into Zim Ties. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this was just kind of a side thing that happened, but we've had contacts in Zimbabwe. We worked there with Yuda Bands, and there was a lady that contacted us, and it's 95% employment. You can imagine the poverty there. They're 8 times more poor than Guatemala.
Wow.
And she wrote a very desperate letter about how discouraged she was and begged for a job. We didn't, she said, I'm willing to work with all my zeal. Those were her words.
Wow.
I just don't have anything I can do. These people are passionate. They do have dreams. They have desires. They have a good work ethic. There's just not an avenue for them to take.
There's no economy
Right. There's
to
just
support it.
absolutely
Yeah.
no economy. So I said we didn't have a job for her. She lives way too far away to have been involved in our program to hire her. But I said, do you have access to a sewing machine? And she said, yes, I do. And I said, what about if you made some ties? I think really the bright African colors would be really popular here. I think people would really like those. So I just sent her YouTube videos. The great thing about the internet today is that even the poorest of the poor have access. They go to an internet cafe, and for just a few cents for them, they can get on and use the internet. So she watched YouTube videos to teach herself how to make these ties.
Wow, that's definitely entrepreneurial.
It is. And she sent us some, and less than 100, just real quickly she made up some, and I used social media. I just sent her an email and put it on Facebook, and within about 2 or 3 hours, those were all gone. I attached the story to it. I actually sent a copy of her letter. So that was one of my favorite, I texted with, that was my favorite text back was, they're gone. We've sold all these.
Yeah,
And she was
that's a great moment.
Just blown away. She was
I'm
so
sure,
shocked.
yeah.
So I said, let's keep going if you want to, make more. And this happened to be about October, so it was perfect for the Christmas season. And so we threw up a website quickly and put some pictures and posted it on Facebook again, and ended up selling nearly 800 ties by Christmas time. She made about twice the annual income of an average Zimbabwean person in about 6 weeks.
Wow.
By implementing entrepreneurial tools and by matching her here with with our market. Now, a lot of people want to, everyone wants to come for the
Yeah,
American
tell us
dream,
about that. Yeah.
but they can't. But with the internet, we can let them partake of the American dream and stay in their country. With the internet, it's an entirely different world than it was just a few years ago. The mentoring is a key thing, though.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Basically, that was the role that I played, and I was kind of practicing, doing it on purpose, kind of
Yeah.
paying attention to how it happened. Her ambition was great. She actually has a very entrepreneurial mind. She's expanding into bow ties. She went and had tags made that say Zim Ties by Memory. Her name is Memory.
Oh,
Zim
cute.
Ties by Memory. She is an entrepreneur. But she didn't know what it looked like here to have an online presence or to be able to, post on Facebook for a business purpose. Very, very limited experience there. So my vision sitting here in this country and even in the state and community, as we've learned, I can share that vision with her and help her to be able to see how she can take advantage of it in her same country. Now, we're a very giving country, and people love stories like this. They love, you can see the ties up there. They're great ties, and people love to participate. But she could never have pieced that together. She's got almost all the components, but not enough to make it happen. So what we're hoping to do is to find more ways to use mentors here, people who volunteer their time, to mentor somebody in a developing nation who's got a product or who has a skill. And through texting, which is free, through Skype calls, which is free, to literally go back and forth with this business plan idea. What if I do this? Well, you could do this. And not to give them a business, but to let them be guided and walk through, kind of like what RevU, I guess, does with people. It's a mentoring program, or put together a mentoring program to make stories like this in ties become very popular, very common, and see how many people we can help doing that.
So if people want to get involved, they should contact one of you guys at this email on the screen?
It's premature, but that's what we'll be going up. We'll call Yuda Market Connect. Connecting the markets. So we have to go, just like we did with LEAD program, we had to be there to kind of develop it. We'll go and spend that year in Botswana. So, but please stay in contact if any of you great minds in here would like to have that. It's so fun. It's so fun to be able to have to see somebody be successful who has no other hope.
Yeah.
I think it's fun here. You take someone who's living in that kind of poverty and let them see that there's a whole new world out there. It's a lot of fun.
All right. So, audience, first off, send them an email. We would love to help them out. Kind of the Rev Road family in Botswana is your next?
We're going to Botswana because Zimbabwe's still unstable. But Botswana is right next door, and we'll work on Yuda bands in Botswana as well, starting there. But then we'll also have contact with the program.
That's so good. And then next, after you do that, do you have any questions about their entrepreneurial journey? McKay, what would you like to know?
Well, so you both are married. How does working with each other, how do you balance life and job and having all of that? How do you balance all of that?
We both are married to each other, in fact. Yeah. I had a job for one semester in college just after we got married. And that's the only job I've really had. Other than that, I've been self-employed. And so I've worked at home, and she puts up with me working at home. And we found that we work well together, and we really enjoy working together. And so it's been a blessing. I imagine a lot of wives are happy to get their husband out the door, but she's been good to keep me around, and I've really enjoyed the opportunity to be able to work at home.
And Laurie, what about for you?
I'll just add that for me, motherhood was always my top priority, always, and it still is. And so my literal involvement is less time, but like you said, we work
she's
together.
The brains.
I have a lot of ideas, too many for my own good sometimes, or his own good sometimes, but he does a lot more of the implementing. So it's give and take. We both have strengths, I think, that we can bring, and it's been a good partnership. It's worked well for us.
And do you ever want to kill each other? I mean, to put it indelicately, like that's so much time together, right?
You know, it is, but no.
No?
We really don't. But
Oh, good. That's incredible.
But it's, it requires a lot of patience.
Yeah.
More on her part than on mine.
Oh, I'm sure it's a two-way street.
But, yeah,
Oh.
no, it's worked out pretty well for us. But it does take, you do have to have your goals be united.
Yeah.
Even though we have different strengths, we have a united goal.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Do you have any other questions from the audience? Please.
I have a question and kind of a statement. The statement is for Yuda bands. You talked about a lot of the young girls who will end up they get married, they become mothers and have families, rather than go on to higher education or a job. But my observation was you're helping a lot of the students now. You're helping this generation get jobs, but by those girls getting married, now you're helping the next generation, because what are they going to tell their children, right? Because you talked about parents being kind of the hurdle to some of the success down there.
Right.
So you're changing parents, which is really cool. The other thing was with Zimtai's, you said her name is Memory?
Yes.
What changes have you seen in her life, or what has she shared with you regarding the changes that she's had in her life as a result of this opportunity?
Well, I wish I could have you read that letter. She wrote that she can't sleep because she's banging her head, that's her terminology, all night, meaning that she's, I think, just so discouraged. This was the point that she started at.
She's got 3 kids.
She had 3 kids and a husband,
And he's off in another country trying to working sometimes and not getting paid for it.
Wow.
So it's
But I think
not
that-
like he's just sitting around either.
Right, but I would just say that the hope that she has gained, she feels like life is entirely different at this point. And it's not, I think the beautiful thing about this whole idea is we could have just sent her $100 and said, I'm so sorry, life's so hard.
Right.
Let us help. But now it's not only the money that she made during those 6 months, she has seen that her hard work has value now because she's been given a path. And so her attitude is she's so happy, and that's just been that burden of worrying about her future has been alleviated, and I encouraged her to pay it forward. I said, do you know what that means? And she texted back, like, to help somebody else. I said, exactly. I want you to go out now. I want you to find somebody that you can help and pay it forward. And so she has found a widowed mother who has 5 children.
Oh, really?
And she is paying for the education for those 5 children.
Wow.
From what she's making with the Zimtais. And that has been neat. That has been a fun part for her. Being on the giving end is so heartwarming.
Yeah.
And if you're poor, think about that. You guys that give and that you serve somebody, how does it make you feel? Well, if you're desperate to live, you don't get that aspect of it very often. So she made a video of her experience with Yuda bands, or with Zimtais, and this mother that she's helping, that she's just about ready to post on Facebook to encourage sales again. It's all part of the marketing as well. But just the attitude of hope and her looking to where she can serve others, I think has just brought a great deal of joy and hope to her happiness.
Wow. I think I have chills right now. That's so cool. I'm inspired. So I think we're out of time for questions. But let's talk about what the Rev Road community can do for you today. And I noticed there's something going on at the table over here. Maybe, do you want to talk? Do you need a mic?
Oh, I probably don't need a mic. Oh, yeah, okay. I won't yell into this, but it just a lot of times when you hear the stories, it's kind of cool to see the product of what we're talking about. And so I've got 100 Yuda bands over here. You can come check out and see. They're pretty cool designs. Each one's handmade, so they're all different. And yeah, we're gonna be selling them just afterwards, and they're $7. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you guys want to add, or you think that the audience would like to know before we let you go?
Well, we have a little gift for Darren that we could maybe look to.
Well, Darren, you better come back up on the stage.
And in this way, this might be something that the audience could help us with as well. This is a new kind of thing that we're toying around with.
Oh, okay.
With doing is that we're looking maybe at expanding to we don't rely on donations, but if there were businesses
Okay, thanks.
that did want to make a donation, the Yuda bands are, since they're handmade, they're customizable. So we've made a Rev Road
What?
Yuda band
Holy cow, this is awesome.
that has the Rev Road
Wow.
logo.
This is great.
And
Thanks,
not that
you
we're going to
guys.
require a donation.
Thank you.
But that would
Love
be
it. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you bet. This is awesome.
We actually have about 20 more of those so you can give them to your employees.
For those you like
wow.
the best, anyway.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I don't know how many you have, but there's some.
I will happily pay it.
No, and those are a gift for you today, but we're looking to maybe work with businesses who would like to make a charitable donation and have that be as a sort of a token gift in
Oh,
return.
that's great.
For their donation would be their logos, or their logo on some Yuda bands. So.
That is a great
very
idea.
cool. And those interested businesses here
So
should
if you have
same
any
email?
business, if you want, something for your employees and kind of a neat way to help, we can even let you know who the funds will be sponsoring, and you can make a connection with those students. as
Wow.
well. I'll have to show you. Okay, Darren. Here's
Teach you how to do it without your teeth.
Okay.
Okay, so put it on your hand with the ties up.
Okay.
One tie is longer than the other, and pinch the longer one
Okay.
between your thumb and your teeth.
There you go.
Now
Now pull.
grab the short one and pull.
You don't
One
even
size
need.
fits all.
That's awesome. I love it. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we have some gifts for you. We're so grateful that you came and shared your story, and we're grateful for the work you're doing, the jobs you're creating, and the hope that you're inspiring in so many people. I wish you could have been there on the day that I first met Brett at the table at the convention center. There were probably dozens of tables there or booths, and his was just packed with kids because they were so excited about being able to do this. And I know that's replicated thousands of times over in those schools that you're serving. So we'd like to give you a
Thank
Rev
you
Road
very much.
bottle for the road and Botswana and a nice bag. So as you go
Wow.
around, you've got something to put all the fun
Nice.
stuff in.
Thank you.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let's hear it for these guys. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate both of you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Great inspiring story, great example of how you can build social responsibility into your business. I hope you enjoyed it and found it beneficial as well. I know a lot of people have. I'd like to also just remind you that next month on June 7th, that's the first Thursday of the month, June 7th, from 11 to 1, we'll be having RevU again. And we're really looking forward to that. The focus is going to be top talent. How do you attract and retain top talent? And you'll be hearing from our very own Dr. Mark Liebman and how he does that. We're very focused on making sure that we attract top talent to each one of our companies. And I know that's a key area of business for each one of us. I'd also like to just point out that we're looking forward to our guest speaker there. It's Brett Grow right here. And Brett is a serial entrepreneur who built first Go Grow, okay, which is a social media marketing company, Link Trust, Homestar, and Apex. And so a very successful serial entrepreneur, and I hope you'll be back here then to hear from him. All right, well, thanks everyone. Hope you have a wonderful week. Take care. Oh, sorry, wait. Who wants a raffle? Okay. Yeah. All right. Who has ticket number, let's just say ticket ending in 9780. 9780. You got to check your ticket. 9780. No? 9780. Okay, let's do another one. Okay. Here we go. Ticket ending in 9778. All right, Kathy. That's great. And Kathy, wait, do you want a t-shirt or water bottle? You got it. All right, excellent. And then the water bottle will go to whoever has 9776. All right, right there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.